Hey, so I've got a really awesome testimony about my new job. So 2 years ago, I was working for Ball in Denver, Colorado area when COVID hit, and they were really pushing health mandates and masks and stuff like that really strong, which I resisted. And as a result of that resistance, they threatened to fire me on two different occasions. So they ended up giving me a um, religious exemption. However, in the last couple of years, I had been asking for a promotion. I had worked at that job harder than any other job that I had worked at, and they had made me a lead engineer. But when I asked for a raise, they turned me down. I asked maybe 4 times for a raise and for a promotion over 2 years, and I asked two different bosses because my boss switched twice, and during that time I had two different bosses, and so they both denied me. And one of my coworkers was slandering me, saying things that weren't true, and he was a project engineer that I had some responsibility in reporting to. So they took what he said pretty strongly, and they didn't really believe me. So I was talking to God about it, and He said, if they don't take care of you, I'm going to take care of you. And I kind of wondered what that meant. I had 3 jobs that I applied for in the Denver area, and one of them interviewed me for almost twice the salary that I was making at Ball. And it looked like things were going really well, but they never ended up making me an offer. In fact, after 2 months, I had to call them, even though I'd interviewed in person, and they never reached out back to me. So they said they canceled the job when I called them 2 months later. And so I kind of was wondering, I was like, what was God talking about when He said, I'm going to take care of you if they don't? Well, I prayed about it, felt like He was saying to stay with Ball. They ended up giving me a large severance pay and laying me off. And then my apartment, uh, my lease was coming up just shortly after that. So it just ended at the end of January, and I'd been let go in November. And I was wondering, okay, what am I going to do now? And I was concerned because I didn't know where I was going to live. I technically still don't know exactly where I'm going to live. But what happened is I ended up receiving a job offer from Gulfstream here in Texas. I'm currently in the Dallas area in a hotel, and they ended up making me a job offer for $1,000 more than my asking price. And so I said, hey, would you be willing to come up on that price at all? And they said, okay, well, what are you thinking? So I asked for an extra 3,000, kind of timidly, because they were already offering me more than what I asked for, so I didn't want to be pushy. And he's like, you know what, I'm gonna ask for 6,000 more, which was 7,000 more than what I asked for. It was 6,000 more than what they offered. So they ended up approving that, and they initially made me a signing bonus offer of 5K. Well, with engineering jobs, it's pretty standard to offer relocation, which apparently they didn't want to offer. But after talking with my future boss a few times, he said that he would see what he could do about maybe getting a relocation or upping the signing bonus. Well, after several days, and I'm having to be out of my apartment soon, I don't know what's going on. Are they going to make me an offer, or are they interviewing someone else, which was a scary thought. And so I called him after 3 days of waiting. We had talked 3 times previous to that, and I negotiated a little bit with him. Actually, he negotiated for me when he started offering me 6,000 more than what they initially offered. Because I said, well, could you come up 3,000, which was supernatural. Like, that's crazy favor that they would just go up, instead of down, which was like phenomenal. I just saw God's hand moving on my behalf. Well, so I talked to him 3 days later, and he says, we're planning to offer you $7,000 more than what you asked for, and we're going to offer you a 10K signing bonus, which would cover all of my relocation costs, and then probably have some left over. And they normally give people 2 weeks vacation, and all my previous jobs except for one had 3 weeks vacation. I was actually hoping to get 4 weeks vacation with all the years of experience I have, but they ended up offering me 3 weeks vacation. So I had already negotiated several times. I wasn't gonna like push it over 1 week because they're already offering me a very large salary and a nice signing bonus. So when I talked to him 3 days later, he said, the approvals are going through corporate right now. We're planning to offer you the 7,000 more than what you asked for, 10K bonus, and 3 weeks vacation. And I started getting excited at that point, but I was still concerned. Are they going to approve it? And then another 3 or 4 days later, he calls me right before I have to get out of my apartment and says, and they've told me that my offer's been approved. And I think it was like the day or two before, I called U-Haul in faith, thinking like they're gonna approve this. I believe God's telling me this is the job. And so I called U-Haul and had them bring pods or U-boxes and put them in the driveway, these large crates for me to load up. So U-Haul picked up those crates a few days ago. I made the right choice calling them in faith. That's more expensive than, hiring a truck, right? But then you save the hassle of having to go back. I didn't want to have to go back. I wanted them to bring everything down and I would just drive down and not have to go back. So I had less space to put my stuff, and I was going to have to pay more for it, but not having to go back, you save money, not having to buy a plane ticket and all the gas to drive down the truck and all this stuff. So I started moving in faith, and then I get the offer the next day. And as I'm packing, I didn't have enough people to help me pack, and I was kind of concerned about that. So that day I got my offer, which I was like so excited about, and then somebody recommended TaskRabbit to me, and I ended up finding a professional mover on there, and he really, really was good and really helped. I have a massage chair that the base of it is like 100 pounds, and he put it on a dolly and strapped it down and took it down by himself, and I was like really not looking forward to moving that item. And the same day my couch and love seat sold, I was going to give it away for free or leave it down by the dump, which I really didn't want to do. And somebody came by and spent $100 to buy my couches off of me. So now I was free of the couches with $100 in my pocket, found a professional mover, and got to lead the professional mover to the Lord. He ended up getting saved and prayed the prayer of salvation, which was like phenomenal because I hadn't seen anybody get saved in a while. So I was really excited about that. So moving day was just like a phenomenal day for me, like multiple things that God did for me. And now I just drove down here to Texas. I've signed my paperwork and I've got applications in to rent a house. And so I'm believing to have a house here just in a couple days maybe. And being a musician, that was a problem in my last place, not being able to make noise and bothering the neighbors as a musician. So I'm really looking forward to having a house to rent. And God has just been so faithful to me. So I had to make this testimony video to brag on him, because when he said, if they don't take care of you, I'm going to take care of you, they're going to end up paying me $35,000 more per year than my base salary. I did have some I had some pretty good benefits at my last job, but they're going to offer a yearly bonus at this new job, and I'm going to be making way more money than I was making before. And so God has just been so kind and so faithful to me, and I just give him glory for what he's doing in my life. Yeah, and let this be a testimony in your life that God will favor you and bless you financially as well. Amen.